This boy gets tired of girls and rejects them in every way, so he decides to live a calm life with his 2D waifu. But girls still fall for him like crazy, and he even rizzes his own teacher by mistake. Uchimaki has only one dream: to draw his greatest 2D bride of all time. He is in the art club room, where his clubmate Usami gets irritated by this and tells him that it's just a picture. Uchimaki asks her why this bothers her, which makes her flustered, and she starts to blush. But in panic, she makes a hole right in the face of Uchimaki's bride, which she instantly realizes, and she apologizes to Uchimaki. But Uchimaki tells her that it is just like murdering his 2D wife, whom he thinks are real people. In reality, Usami actually likes Uchimaki. Then they have the club president, who has only one goal just like Uchimaki, but it is sleeping all the time. Suddenly, the president wakes up after a nap, and for the first time in a whole year, he actually decides to do some work, and he just simply leaves to sleep outside because the weather is very good. After this, Uchimaki starts a magical girl anime for his research to make his ultimate 2D wife, which shocks Usami, but she also decides to draw. But the anime voice distracts Usami, and when she asks Uchimaki to lower the volume, he notices that Usami is actually drawing apples, on which she asks him what she gets by drawing the apples. They are just fruits, as she cannot love them. When Usami gets irritated and asks him to shut his mouth, Uchimaki gives her an idea that she should draw or turn them into human. Maybe that way she'll be able to love them. Usami thinks it is a good idea, and she just draws a man with an apple face, and both realize that they have just drawn some random bullshit. Later, Uchimaki asks Usami to be his model, but she instantly refuses because she knows Uchimaki is just going to change her looks. Just like last time, he draws Usami as a blonde elf, but then Usami advises him to ask the president to make the pose this time. But Uchimaki tells her that the pose he actually wants is for someone to sit on a chair, like a cute pose. And he tells her that this pose actually requires a certain level of cuteness, which makes Usami happy, thinking that maybe Uchimaki also thinks she is cute. But he tells her that she just barely makes the cutoff for cuteness, which shocks Usami. But she still gets motivated that even Uchimaki considers her cute. So she decides to make a pose, but Uchimaki tells her that he can clearly see her paradise, which embarrasses Usami, and she instantly puts on some shorts. But Uchimaki tells her she does not need to get worried, because he is definitely not interested in anything 3D. Later, while drawing, Usami asks Uchimaki to hold her knees and smile. But when she does that, Uchimaki starts laughing, which makes her confused. And suddenly, the president appears behind the sofa, and Usami gets shocked and asks him how long he has been there. And the president reveals that he just came in since the paradise parts, which means he was there from the start. Uchimaki tells Usami that she does not need to worry because he is not interested in some brat's paradise, but actually, he holds the camera with which he records everything. Later after this, Uchimaki draws Usami, and the president leaves the club room. When Uchimaki is done with it, he tells Usami to take a look because this time, he drew her exactly as she was, and Usami gets excited, but when she sees it, it again turns out to be another masterpiece. But not what Usami imagined. Even the pose is different, and Uchimaki barely saves his wife from getting murdered again. Uchimaki tells Usami he actually drew her exactly if she takes a closer look. When Usami herself focuses, she realizes he actually drew the paradise the same. Even the pattern is the same, which shocks Usami that he saw this much in just a second. But Uchimaki reveals that he actually drew this from the picture the president took earlier and gave him the camera. This angers Usami, and she runs after the president with the baseball bat. Uchimaki thinks it's too mean and decides to draw Usami using a photo. After some time, Usami and the president come back, with the president on his last breath, and he asks Usami to wind up all the things because they need to close the club room, and Uchimaki gives the portrait to Usami. A few days later, the president again wakes up to the sound of a dropped paint bucket, which Uchimaki accidentally spills while trying to draw. The president tells him to clean this up before Usami comes, otherwise she will get angry, but he accidentally kicks the chair before sleeping, and as the chair has a portrait on it, it falls on the paint. And when the president sees that Uchimaki's painting is behind him, so it means that the painting fell on the paint. In the Sea of Blood is Usami's painting, and the president sees life flashing before his eyes. And right then they hear Usami outside the club room. Both instantly panic, and Uchimaki tells the president he will try to stall some time and asks him to hide all the mess. When Usami is about to enter the club room, Uchimaki tries to buy some time, but Usami realizes a bit that something is going on because Uchimaki is sweating a lot. As this looks too suspicious, she moves Uchimaki and enters the club room. Just then, she gets shocked to see the president lying on the ground, which first shocks Usami and also Uchimaki. When Uchimaki is thinking what the hell the president is doing, suddenly he notices that he's actually lying on the portrait and acting like it's a crime scene. And if he gets up, that means they will be caught, and Uchimaki realizes that he has to play along with this act. Uchimaki starts to act like in dramas, But Usami suddenly checks the red blood and realizes that it's paint instantly, and she gets angry, thinking it's a prank. But Uchimaki continues his drama and acts like they first need to find the weapon. Usami calls all this dumb and tells Uchimaki that if he wants to play cops and robbers, then he should do it himself, because she has to finish her painting, and that painting is for submission in a competition and the deadline is tomorrow. But just then she realizes the painting was on the chair, and when she glares at Uchimaki, he tells her that he did not see it, and Uchimaki realizes their act cannot continue longer, and she tries to wake up the president so he can help her look for the painting. But Uchimaki still acts and tells Usami the president is just a corpse. He even hits him and tells Usami that a corpse cannot listen to someone, but the president cannot hold his painful voice. So Uchimaki makes an excuse and tells Usami that he saw something canvas-like on the top of the shelf, and when Usami tries to look for it, Uchimaki instantly asks the president for the next plan. But the president tells him that he has a more serious problem, he really needs to use the bathroom, and Uchimaki tells him to hold it. Meanwhile, Usami asks Uchimaki if he really sees it here because she cannot find it, but Uchimaki tells her that he can see it, actually, her paradise. Just then, Uchimaki accidentally trips from the chair, and Uchimaki rushes to save her. But as he can only hold 2D girls, Uchimaki and Usami follow the president, and the president asks them to move instantly because he cannot hold it anymore, and tells them that actually, Usami's painting is digging into his stomach accidentally, and Usami also hears all of this. The president realizes he is caught, so he stands up and removes the painting and apologizes to Usami, who pulls out her life flasher weapon, and both get some tomato juice out from their heads. In the end, they decide to submit Uchimaki's painting for the contest, even though Uchimaki does not want people leering at his bride, and Usami also does not expect it to win anything anyway. But a few days later, Uchimaki's painting gets second place in the contest, which surprises Usami. Thank you for watching. One day, Uchimaki and Usami are doing some drawing while the president is sleeping, and Uchimaki-kun is making laughing noises. Usami asks him the reason, but he pretends not to be doing anything, yet Usami knows what he is up to. She thinks he is laughing because he drew another waifu, but Usami tells him that it is actually a bride. And what's more is that she is not just an old bride, he still has to finish some of the coloring, but she is going to become his life's dream ultimate 2D bride. Just then, Uchimaki-kun starts to tell Usami about his new bride's charms, but Usami ignores him, so he starts to tell everything loudly so everyone hears. Usami gets embarrassed and stops him, as she will listen to him. So Uchimaki-kun tells her all the charms and good things of his new bride, and the interesting part is that instead of wearing underwear, she wears a white swimsuit. Usami remembers and asks Uchimaki-kun what he will do when he is done with this drawing of his idol bride, because that was the only reason he joined the club in the first place. So he maybe needs a goal or purpose, or else he will become exactly like the president. But Uchimaki-kun tells her that won't be an issue because he will quit the club after this is complete. This instantly shocks Usami, who did not expect this, and she asks Uchimaki-kun the reason. Uchimaki-kun tells her that actually, after his bride is complete, he does not have any reason to stay, and on top of that, she's the one who always told him that the things he draws are not proper for the club. Uchimaki-kun asks her if she will be more satisfied if he quits, but Usami throws him onto the president because actually, even before, she was trying to hide her embarrassment. Later, Usami asks the president, who tells her that actually he only joined the club for one reason, so it cannot be helped. But Usami tells him that if Uchimaki-kun quits, she will be alone in the club room, because another member, Collette, does not come to the art club, and she does not want to be alone with the president again. But the president tells her that he is the most harmless man she will ever find, because all he does is sleep. The president tells her that it will actually hurt the club if Uchimaki-kun leaves, because he placed at the contest, and it is really good for their club image even though Usami worked hard. So Usami asks the president to jump from the building, but the president is not Batman, so he instantly refuses. But when Usami insists, the president finally gives up and tells her that he will try to convince and stop Uchimaki-kun from leaving, and he tells her that he actually has a secret plan. The president goes to the club room, calls Uchimaki-kun, and shows him the new pillow he bought. He tries to convince him that this pillow is very special because it was bought with the club money, it is French, and it is really good for sleep. And just then, the president falls asleep. But Usami wakes him back to reality. So the president seriously asks Uchimaki-kun about the reason or anything that worries him. He can talk to him, but he tells him first to take care of himself. Later, Usami goes to the club room and sees that Uchimaki-kun is winding up his final portrait. But seeing Usami nervous, Uchimaki-kun tells her that she does not need to get worried, he will definitely invite her to their wedding, and Usami feels the humiliation she never felt before. Usami remembers the first day Uchimaki-kun came to their art club room, and the president and she both interviewed him, where the president tells him that they are only a small group because they only accept elite persons. At this, Usami got angry at him, that because of this kind of act, they got only a few members. So when the president asks Uchimaki-kun the reason why he wants to join the art club in the middle of the year, he tells him that the anime he used to watch at this time has ended, so he has a lot of free time. At this, Usami instantly objects, but the president accepts him and continues to the next question about what he planned on doing when he joined the club, on which Uchimaki-kun told them he wanted to draw his ultimate 2D bride. And then the president instantly accepted him in the club because he was a funny guy, according to him. But when Usami objects that this is not a manga club, this is an art room, and Uchimaki-kun did not look like he would take art seriously, Uchimaki-kun asks him instantly about when he can start drawing. So, Usami had to give up. When she tried to tell the things about what to use and what not to use, she also introduced herself, and as both were first year, she greeted him to get along, but Uchimaki-kun instantly rejected her, telling her he is not interested in 3D. At this, Usami gets flustered. At present, while going home, Usami finally asks Uchimaki-kun if he is really going to quit. She tries to stop him and encourages herself to just say one phrase, and maybe he will reconsider his decision. But when Uchimaki-kun asks her if she is thinking to become lonely if he quits or something, she gets flustered again. And just when she is about to tell him not to quit, Uchimaki-kun brushes it off, saying he is just kidding, and just then Usami starts to cry, which even shocks Uchimaki-kun, and she leaves. The next day, she comes to the club room but gets a little nervous before entering. But when she finally enters, Uchimaki-kun is the only one in the club room, and the president is out sleeping and is not in the room when Usami needs him the most. Anyway, when Usami checks Uchimaki-kun's portrait, she realizes he did not draw anything, and when she asks about the drawing, he tells her that he just finished it and put it there and is going to draw his new wife on this one. Just then, it clicks to Usami, and she instantly asks if he is not going to quit after that one, but he tells her that he changed his decision, at which Usami gets more angry and embarrassed because of all that happened yesterday. But Uchimaki-kun tells her that she is the reason he is not quitting, and she thinks maybe her feelings got through without telling him. But Uchimaki-kun reveals that he never thought or got passionate about crying, so now he has a new goal about drawing crying girls. But she is happy that Uchimaki is not quitting the club room. One day, Uchimaki comes to the club room and finds it empty, and suddenly notices something move behind the sofa. When he checks, he finds Collette, who is also a member of the art club, lying behind the sofa. She is a foreigner and has been living in Japan for 5 to 6 years because her parent has a career here. Later, she tells Uchimaki that she actually lost her locket, which is special to her. Later, Collette tells Uchimaki that she was looking for it, and Uchimaki thinks that maybe the locket has a special photo inside it, so he agrees to help her. When he asks what kind of locket it is, she tells him that it is definitely not the one that flies. They both decide to find it together, and a little later she tells them that she already searched the whole club room, so they both go to the school's lost and found. While going, she suddenly stops and starts glaring at a rock club poster, but Uchimaki reminds her that they need to find her locket. After they go to the lost and found section and find a hairpin of Usami's, Collette starts laughing that she is a klutz because she lost her important thing. Anyway, they do not find her locket in the boxes, so Uchimaki asks her if she remembers where she has been today. So she tells him that after coming to school, she went to the rooftop, and there she flew a kite, and a teacher found her and scolded her. Then she went to the student disciplinary room, which shocks Uchimaki about what she was doing all day. But she tells him that she actually lost the locket yesterday, and when Uchimaki asks where she was yesterday, she becomes suspicious and asks him why he has been asking and what he plans to do by knowing what she has been doing all day. Just then Usami passes by and greets them, and they tell her that they are actually finding Colette's locket. Uchimaki gives her back Usami's hairpin, and Usami tells him that she actually has class duty to wrap up, so she will help them look for it after. But she hands over to them a hand bracelet of the president she found, and asks them to hand it over. So while going to the club room, both think that maybe the president has found her locket. When they enter the club room, they find the president there and give him his bracelet, and Collette eagerly waits for the president to give her locket. But the president reveals that he does not have her locket, which shocks her, and she calls him useless. But suddenly she gets a thought that maybe she did not lose it, it got stolen, and she starts to see both the president and Uchimaki with suspicious eyes. But when she puts her hand in her pocket, she instantly gets nervous, and seeing her change in behavior, she asks both to forget about the locket. They both get suspicious, and the president asks her if it is in her pocket, which instantly scares her, and she pretends she has nothing. But later she apologizes, as it was in her pocket this whole time. But Uchimaki tells her that she does not need to worry too much. It is a good thing that she found the locket, because she has a special photo of her family inside. But Collette gets surprised about what family photo he is talking about, and Uchimaki asks her if her locket was not supposed to be important because she has a family photo, but she finally shows them, which actually has a sticker selfie she took last week. One day, Usami rushes to the club room because she is late, but when she enters the club room, she finds Collette getting worried about something, and when she sees on the sofa, she thinks it is the president again sleeping. But the president tells her that he is right here, which scares her. And it turns out that the person sleeping under a blanket is actually Uchimaki, who got depressed because he is now out of ideas to draw his wife. Actually, he is having trouble giving her a hairstyle, so Usami sits beside Uchimaki and suggests to him something like a short bob hairstyle. But Uchimaki does not know about this hairstyle, so Collette decides to instantly draw one, and she draws bobs. Anyway, Usami notices a book on the table and thinks maybe Uchimaki is into that stuff, and she imagines herself as the character from the book, but instantly gets embarrassed and realizes there is no way she can do that. While leaving the club, Usami notices that Uchimaki is still sad about ideas, and while going home, Usami notices a bookstore. Next day, she gives Uchimaki a book with female hairstyles for reference, on which Uchimaki gets happy seeing a lot of hairstyles in the book and thanks Usami, which makes her blush. One day, a female teacher named Yumiko remembers the art club member's student's name. She's a clumsy woman who just become a teacher and want to be a professional, and the current teacher, the current advisor of the art room. She's a clumsy one, Home Kayoma teacher, who's actually the art club advisor calls her, but she's spacing out and suddenly gets scared and salutes him by habit and get embarrassed about it. Actually, the previous teacher, Yakuhama sensei, becomes the advisor of newspaper club, so this new teacher, Yumiko, is now appointed as the art club's advisor. And today is her first day as an advisor. She stands outside the door of the club and gets nervous. Suddenly, Toilet comes rolling in the hall and stops on the teacher's foot. When she noticed the teacher, she instantly asks her what she is doing, as this should be the teacher line. But Collette asked him if she need anything from the room, so she tells him that she does have a business actually. Suddenly, the teacher recognizes her that she is the member of the art club and greets her and tells her that she is not any suspicious person, and she is actually the art room's advisor. Collette gets instantly shocked because their advisor is Yakuhama sensei, and she assumed that she is intentionally lying with her and wants to kidnap her. So later she will pretend to be Yakuhama sensei when asking the ransom amount. So Collette instantly runs away and shouts for help. Anyways, the teacher first thinks that she was trying to say that she is not a good fit for being an advisor, but she decides to do her best and knocks on the door. When she enters the room, she noticed all three members are in the club and again try to explain them. She is not someone suspicious, but Usami asks him if she is a Yakuhama teacher, and the teacher instantly gets startled and she apologizes to them and tells him she gets nervous easily. Uchimaki tells her that actually, Koyohama teacher already tells them about her, which is actually a relief for a Yakuhama teacher because she is not very good at explanation. Anyways, Uchimaki and Usami decide to do what they normally do and ask the teacher to just watch them what they normally do as her first day and just only observe their activity, which Yakuhama sensei gets relieved because it feels like a real teacher to her. Yakuhama teacher actually told Yumiko teacher that to just quietly watch over the student as it will be her first day, she does not need to do anything too complicated, and there is a chance she might get in their way or something like that. So keeping that in mind, Yukima teacher just sit down quietly and watches over them. But suddenly she noticed that the president is sleeping, and she gets shocked that he normally just is bending his duties, and imagines that the president maybe could be a bad student or a troublemaker, and gets scared. But when she notices Usami and Uchimaki working quietly, she gets her hope high and thinks that Uchimaki is an excellent artist because he even get awarded for his work, and from his expression, he looks very sincere to his work. But Uchimaki goes to the locker behind and pulls out her masterpiece, and when Usami asks him, he tells him that he actually bought it from the bookstore the other day. The teacher tries to convince himself that it is totally unnormal because he is still a boy, and she cannot label him just for liking an anime girl in swimsuit. But Uchimaki introduces the teacher and tells him that this is actually his bride, which clears the Yumiko doubt, and she assumed that the president is actually a troublemaker and the talented boy is a poet. So she excuses herself and goes out for a moment, and Usami tells him that the teacher seems a little down because Uchimaki suddenly tells her that 2D girl is his wife. But Uchimaki encounters Usami because the teacher was the one who tells them to what they normally do. While putting that aside, they decide to ask the president to bring the teacher back. The president does not wake up and asks for 1 hour for sleep, so Uchimaki switches with Usami, and the president goes out to call the teacher with Thor's hammer on his head. Anyways, they ask the teacher to sit on the chair and decide a plan that president will keep the teacher engaged in a casual chit-chat. President stands up, goes to the window, and he goes near the window and tells the teacher the weather is really nice and just sleep there. And this time they use another way to keep him awake. Anyways, the president keeps the teacher engaged in a casual chit-chat, and the teacher gets comfortable too. After a while, Usami and Uchimaki are done with their art and tells the teacher who asked them if she can see the finished work. And when she looked, she gets surprised that both of them drew her, and Uchimaki is way better. The teacher gets shocked, and they tells him that it is like a surprise and welcome to her, and it was easier because she did not move very much. And so Yumiko realized that Yokohama teacher also asked her not to move too much, and realized that it was also the part of Yokohama teachers as a surprise for Yumiko's first day as advisor. They ask her to say a few words as her first day, and she decides to work hard, and again salutes them. And just like this, her first day as advisor of art clubs goes unfinished. Meanwhile, Collette finally sees Yokohama teacher, who tells him that she is actually a real teacher. One day, Uchimaki received a letter and brought it into the club room, which surprised Usami. Meanwhile, the president covered his eyes because, to him, Uchimaki's real-life aura was too bright, which made him blind. But the president also praised him, saying that being liked by many girls means he is also doing very well in the real world. But Uchimaki was surprised and told him that he only got one love letter. And when the president was about to say the name of the other person, Usami landed a portrait on the president's head. After that, Usami asked Uchimaki the reason he brought the letter into the club room, and he told her that he actually wanted to ask them what he should do, as this was the first time he'd ever received a letter, which irritated Usami. But when he asked if she ever returned one, she got flustered and told him that she never did this. And Uchimaki told her that it was obvious, on which Usami got angry and accidentally blurted out that one day she was going to throw one right in the club room. She threw one right on his face, which made the room fall silent, and Usami tried to cover up. After that, she told him that if he received a letter, then he must give a proper reply, as the person was asking Uchimaki to go out with her. When Usami asked him if he already decided an answer, Uchimaki told her that he did have an answer planned in his mind all along, and it was to tell her to know her place, 3D woman, which instantly shocked Usami, who told him that she would be traumatized. He could not say this. But Uchimaki told her that it was his way of rejecting indirectly without hurting anyone. But Usami decided to tell him a basic excuse. Later, behind the school, the girl asked, Uchimaki told the girl that he already had someone else he liked. Meanwhile, the president and Usami were watching them from the side. Uchimaki told her that actually he was in love with a special person, by which he meant his character. The girl started to ask a question if the girl he liked went to the same school, which made Uchimaki nervous because he did not think about it. So Usami and the president tried to signal him to just nod yes, but the girl's guess was that it might be Usami because both of them were always together, on which Usami signaled to nod yes, but Uchimaki refused. And Usami got rejected even before a proposal or confession. The president sympathized with her. And later, finally, Uchimaki was able to get out of this. And in the club room later, he got motivated to draw his new bride. One day, in the club room, Collette was having a contest of staring with the statue's face, while Usami and Uchimaki were drawing it. Usami drew it perfectly, while Uchimaki laughed at her sketch and showed Collette his art, where he turned the sketch into a perfect anime girl. Usami and Uchimaki started to draw their new bride. Uchimaki decided to go to the art store, and seeing him going somewhere, and when he asked Usami if she needed anything, he would buy it for her. But Usami told him that she would feel bad for it and decided to go with him. But Uchimaki also asked Collette to come with him, but Collette told them she would stay here and asked both of them to have fun because she wanted to give Usami some time alone and winked. Usami also realized the favor of Collette and gave her a thumbs up. After both left, Collette sat in the club room and suddenly noticed the face statue and thought the statue was really pale and it was not good for its health. Suddenly she notices some paints and draws color on the statue's head, but she also draws a mustache and writes on his forehead. She instantly realizes she went too far and maybe she will even get scolded for it later, so she decides to put the statue in the box nearby and instantly leaves the club room. Just then, Yamako-sensei enters the club room and finds no one is here. She sees Uchimaki-kun's art, and to appreciate it, she draws a flower on it. She is actually an airhead, but just then, she notices that books are on the ground and thinks the kids made a mess on the floor, and when she is about to put the book in the box, she sees the head and instantly faints. Later, when Usami and Uchimaki-kun come to the club room, they find no one is there and the teacher is lying on the ground. Both get instantly nervous, and Usami runs to call someone. Meanwhile, Uchimaki-kun tries to think what he should do in a situation like this, and remembers that he read something like this happening in a manga. He does some quick study and realizes that he needs to give mouth-to-mouth CPR to his teacher. Meanwhile, the president is coming to the club room after taking a nap outside, but when he is about to enter the club room, he notices Uchimaki-kun is making a move on the teacher. He instantly gets shocked about the situation, and just then, Collette comes back to the club room as she feels guilty, but she notices the president outside and asks him what he is doing. The president instantly grabs Collette and takes her to the stairs and asks her if she knows what is going on in the club room, as it is something major. Collette thinks he is talking about the paint on the statue, and she thinks that it was definitely something that was not going to be hidden for long. Meanwhile, the president actually thinks that he never thought Uchimaki-kun was interested in girls in real life. Finally, Collette tells the president that what he saw in the art room is actually her fault. The president instantly gets shocked and confused, and Collette becomes more convinced that she was the one who made things that way. And when the president asks the reason, Collette tells him that he did not seem healthy. Both keep arguing about different things with each other, and suddenly the president notices that Usami is bringing the teacher. Both get shocked, and Usami tells him that if they saw what happened in the club room, the president gets even more shocked and asks if she has already seen it. She tells him that she already knew and asks all of them to head over there quickly, but the president tries to stop her and tells her that there is nothing they can do, and Usami shows the president that at least they can take her to the bed in the nurse's office. And finally, the president asks Usami if she is okay to lose Uchimaki-kun like that, and now Usami realizes that there is something wrong, and she asks the president if they are definitely mixing some things. And when the president asks what she saw in the art room, she tells him that Himeko-sensei was unconscious, and she left Uchimaki-kun there. But the president tells Usami that what he actually saw is that Uchimaki-kun and Himeko-sensei were doing this. And the president tells Usami that he is not okay to lose Uchimaki-kun like that. She instantly gets flustered and tells him there is no way Uchimaki-kun will do that with a 3D girl. Yokohama-sensei hears everything and tells him that maybe he is trying to give her mouth-to-mouth CPR. Hearing this, Usami instantly runs to the club room to stop Uchimaki-kun, and Collette gets confused about what is actually going on. When she enters the club room, Uchimaki-kun finally gives up, as he cannot do this to a 3D girl. And just then, finally, Himeko-sensei wakes up. Usami asks Uchimaki-kun if he did mouth-to-mouth with Himeko-sensei. After Uchimaki-kun tells her that he did not, Usami finally gets relief. Himeko-sensei also apologizes for causing trouble, and just then the president asks her the reason she even fainted. Then Sensei remembers and tells the president there is a person's head in the box, and when she saw that, she was so shocked, and finally she realized that should not be possible. She probably just imagined it, but the president tells her that there is actually a head and pulls out the statue. While everyone is arguing and talking to each other, Collette comes to the club room and instantly falls to her knees and just keeps apologizing. One day, Usami is sleeping at home after taking a bath. She dreams about Uchimaki, but her mom calls her multiple times. She does not hear it, mumbles about Uchimaki, and finally wakes up and gets embarrassed. She asks her to at least knock, which she actually did, and asks the time. When she tells her it's just 8,030, Usami feels relieved as she hasn't done her homework yet, but she remembers and asks her mom why she came, or if she needs anything, and she finally reveals there's a call from Uchimaki, so Usami instantly grabs the phone from her mom. She makes an excuse to Uchimaki that she wasn't sleeping, she was just feeling a little tired, and asks him the reason for calling her so late. Her mom sits there and just listens, and when Usami notices her, she instantly asks her to get out. Even though her mom says, "Don't mind me," she pushes her out, and her mom is surprised that she hasn't exchanged her cell phone number yet. After that, Uchimaki tells Usami that he accidentally noticed he had her homework sheet, and when Usami checks her bag, she realizes she does not have hers, and Uchimaki remembers that maybe, because of Collette's magic show, their sheets got mixed up. So Uchimaki asks her if it's okay to bring her sheet, on which Usami gets shocked and tells him that she's not ready yet, accidentally blurting out, "She's not ready." Anyway, after some time, Usami's mother notices she is heading outside with nice clothes and asks if she's going somewhere. Usami tells her she's not and asks if the clothes look weird, and when she guesses it is because of Uchimaki, she gets flustered. Just then, Uchimaki rings the bell, and her mom tells her she does not look weird. Then she answers the door. Uchimaki greets her very formally, and she tells him he does not need to be so formal, but he points to the door where Usami's mom is glaring at them, and again tells her, "Don't mind her." So Usami drags Uchimaki outside, where Uchimaki hands her the homework sheet and apologizes that he did not realize she would be sleeping, on which Usami asks him not to mention that again. Just when Uchimaki is about to leave, Usami tells him that she has a request and asks him about exchanging phone numbers. In case something like this happens again, it is better if he can reach her. And Uchimaki agrees, which makes Usami happy. One day, when Usami is about to leave the classroom for the club, her Her friend asks her to hang out with them, but she apologizes as she has club after school and the competition is coming up soon. Then her other two friends also come up and tell her that she is young and looks in love. But she makes an excuse by saying that she actually loves art, and when one of them asks if she loves it more than Uchimaki, Usami accidentally tells her not more than him and instantly falls to the ground with embarrassment and shock at how easily she can be tricked. Meanwhile, one friend asks her not to go to the club with such a lewd attitude, and this actually angers Usami. So they all decide to go to the club room as there are 2 days activities, but Usami tells them not to because they will only get in her way. Usami keeps refusing them, but all 3 of them follow her. And finally one says it is just an idea that they will go to try it out or something like that. When they reach the art room, Usami carefully peeks into the room to see who has arrived and notices it's only Uchimaki. At the end, her friends instantly barge into the room, to which Usami apologizes that her weirdo friends tagged along. Usami's best friend Koro instantly grabs Uchimaki's hands and tells him that Usami is actually a sweet and nice girl and, well, she does have some bit of notices too, on which Usami gets embarrassed and shouts at her. After that, one of them tells Uchimaki the excuse they are using to come out. Just then, Koro suggests she wants to draw something and asks the other two to draw too as a competition, and the worst person will buy drinks for everyone. And as for drawing, they intentionally make Uchimaki and Usami stand together, and Koro even asks them to smile a bit. After a few minutes, Koro intentionally asks Usami to stand closer to Uchimaki so their shoulders touch, because for her, they are not fitting into the paper. Usami gets flustered with this and stands along with Uchimaki, while all 3 of her friends also enjoy this. Just then, Koro asks them where next they should kiss, but Usami instantly throws the head statue at her face and forces her to first kiss that one. But she apologizes to Usami as it's her first kiss and she does not want it with the head statue. After finishing, they decide to show their work, and obviously Koro asks all of them for their drinks and goes to buy from the vending machine. After a while, she comes back with all the drinks and hands them over to everyone. As for Uchimaki, she brought Coke because the drink he asked for was sold out. But Usami tells her that actually, Uchimaki cannot drink carbonated drinks, on which Koro starts apologizing, and suddenly she gets an idea. Usami asks Uchimaki to trade with her drink, which she already drank a little bit. Usami tells her it's a little too much, but when Uchimaki says it's okay, she gets shocked and tries to explain to Uchimaki that it will be an indirect kiss. But for Uchimaki, this doesn't bother him. As he told before, he's not interested in 3D, even a little bit. But Usami cannot bear this, and she instantly takes the drink from him and drinks all of it. But Uchimaki grabs Usami's drink and drinks it without hesitation, which shocks and embarrasses Usami, who does not say anything to her, which surprises Usami, as she does not look mad about it. Next day, they find Uchimaki and Usami's picture from yesterday, which her friend, who is actually in the newspaper club, put on the main notice board, with the title that their school morale is disappearing.